What is up, fanboys and fangirls? Welcome back to another episode of TV Talk. We are talking about WandaVision episode 5 today. This will be a spoiler-filled discussion. So if you haven't seen it, get out of here, go watch it, and then come back.
Yeah, definitely have to clarify that for this one.
It's good to clarify that for this one. Yes. So, Luke, Tyler, initial thoughts, go.
What is going on? And that is I say that in the highest respect to this show. I think it's doing so good of maintaining mystery without dumping all of its answers. It's doing a really good job of keeping you engaged.
Agreed. My initial response is it's starting, it's beginning. And it's I don't know. I think this is the best thing Marvel's done since Winter Soldier.
Ooh. Hot take.
Like, and I feel pretty confident in saying that. Like, this is the most like genre bending, different thing they've done, which to me, and I've harped on this forever, it's the least cookie cutter thing they've done. And so I enjoy it just so much more than everything else they've done in the past, other than Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
But that one also is a genre bender and kind of pushes itself outside of the normal scope of what Marvel typically does.
For sure. Yeah, I would agree to, like, I think that Infinity War and Endgame had to be what they were. And I'm glad they were what they were. I think back to Infinity War, and I was so pissed that they, did the whole 2-part thing at the time. But that was it was unique for the MCU at the time as well. And then Endgame was the epic conclusion, but they haven't had that chance to really break the formula until I think they were willing to try a TV series. And I'm so glad they did with this one what they're doing. Because it seems like the rules are just being rewritten, and I love it.
Yeah, the Disney Plus has given them such a great avenue to step outside of their comfort zone, and hopefully, kind of what I want to see come from this, and this is me being selfish, is like the people who are getting to do these shows, like these directors that haven't done their movies for them, like they're bringing in new creative teams. And I hope that some of these creative teams can carry over into the movies, as part of their future plans. I think the guy's name is it Sheikman? Is the guy running the show for WandaVision? He definitely should get a look moving forward. Yeah. Maybe not a movie, but give him something. Let him write. Let him be a producer on some of these future projects.
Give him another series, yeah.
Because he's definitely got some really creative ideas that obviously Feige's signing off on for good reason.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I just hope that some of these lesser known creators can kind of rise through the ranks of Disney Plus and into their movie world.
Do we want to talk about inside the anomaly or outside the anomaly, or the hex, as we like to call it now? First.
We can talk about outside since
there's not as much going on outside.
Yeah, I think there's less to unpack there.
Sure. So we get Monica Rambeau waking up, kind of remembering. She's got these fragmented memories of what all happened that kind of pieces itself back together. We learn a weird realization that her clothes are still what she wore in, but Wanda recrafted them into the whatever needed to be changed. So her 1970s style pants were 87% Kevlar or something like that. That was kind of a cool little it's not, this obviously isn't just in Wanda's head, right? It's not like, and not that there's a certain level of what is and what is not in Wanda's head, but this is a reality of sorts.
Yeah, she's manipulating reality as a whole,
Yeah.
and that's to me that's important to know because I was after watching it, I was talking with my wife about it, and we were kind of thinking about the babies, right?
Yep.
The kids, and it's like, are they real, or are these things just part of her imagination? Who really knows? And that kind of answers that question. This is real, but how real it will be when the anomaly is gone is what will be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of, and this is kind of, I guess, switching to inside of it, but kind of going off that point, there's a lot of things that don't seem like they should be real, but other things that are, like you have Norm, who, when Vision kind of resets his mind, he's like, what's going on? I'm in constant pain. This hurts. Where's my family? But then you have people like Agnes who are just like, do you want me to redo that scene?
Yeah.
Who seem fully aware of what's going on.
Agnes seems very aware versus someone
She's
like
sus,
Norm.
man.
She's very sus.
And I've seen like some theories online as to who she actually is. It'll be interesting to see how they play that out. But no, the scene with Norm, Luke, that you bring up, man, that scene, like the tension in that scene felt like a thriller movie.
It's really good.
I was like, yo, this is crazy. And it had all the colors of the MCU, like it was really bright. But like that moment, I was like, oh man, this is like a horror movie. Like this is terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
I did
that was
like
a good scene.
It was. I did like the little nod when they were talking about like does she have a code name when they were in the outside of the hex. They were talking about her, so I'm guessing she'll get her Scarlet Witch name from this.
Yeah.
I think that will be the ultimate takeaway from that, which will be.
I thought she did have a name already.
I did too. That's why I was super confused, but I guess not.
Maybe within the Avengers, but not publicly.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if it's ever been actually.
I couldn't remember.
Spoken.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something else that we learned inside or outside the hex is that Vision's body was being kept at Sword, and Wanda broke into it about a week and a half before Monica showed up and apparently stole his remains and took them to Westview. Are we buying that story, or does that seem a little sus?
And
I think okay. No. Now that you asked that, no. Because I'm working on a theory as well that I'm just like, could there be something going on with this? And I feel like it's kind of out there, but also just makes sense on something from the past and other little tiny things that they always show at the end of the episode. I don't know if we want to get into that yet, but no, I don't. I still don't fully believe that Wanda is in total control. I think she's in partly in control with some of the things, but there's somebody working her over or manipulating her in some way.
I think we'll cross that bridge here very shortly.
Yeah. Tyler, other thoughts on that?
I'm not buying that. I think that's a total crock of crap, honestly. And even in like the security footage where it shows her breaking in, Vision, if Vision was there, he's in like pieces.
I thought that was kind of really well done.
I was like, man, that thing's in like different places. Like his head was in a different area from his. So she'd have been carrying out a bunch of limbs. Like
Probably just reassemble him with her magic.
I think of C-3PO.
Oh, in Empire.
The backpack, yeah.
Chewie carrying him out.
Like that's how I imagine Wanda carrying out Vision.
Yeah.
You put my head on backwards.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you guys where, and I can't tell if it's them just trying to be smart with a red herring or not, but it does seem like director Hayward and his kind of increasingly aggressive nature seems to be implying that either that he's manipulating the story to get what he wants, or he's less in control and doesn't really know how to handle himself as maybe just like a obstacle for the outside team. But all of this leads then to a fantastic confrontation outside of the Hex, where we get Wanda coming out in like modern day costume, just being a badass and like
just doing what Magneto has done in every movie
Yep.
he's been in.
Use a bad accent.
Well, no, that too, but
Listen,
no.
it was a great scene, but pick an accent.
That's
Stick with it.
that's just
Yeah.
the thing now with Wanda is, does she have an accent?
Just-
Does she not? It doesn't matter.
They literally got rid of it in the last 3 movies, and now it's back. I'm like,
It could be partly in that she's remembering her past though too.
Mhm.
true.
But no, like all I could see in that scene was Magneto, man. That's
Yeah.
all I could see. And for people who don't know, Magneto is actually her dad in
Yeah.
the comics. So that was a nice little like callback to that.
Agreed. So then we can move inside the Hex, and we
Oh yeah,
have
let's go.
have a few fun things to talk about. Can we talk about the kids first? We kind of intro with them
They're sus.
just aging up. Bloop.
I loved
You
the
can have
scene.
a dog when you're older. Okay, I'm older.
I love the scene when they're getting ready to age up after the dog dies.
Yeah.
And Wanda's like, "No, don't you age up." Like that just cracked me up because like it just kind of shows you how much she's aware of that can be changed in
Mhm.
Westview and manipulated. Which it makes me wonder though too, like are these kids are something she's created as opposed to like Norm, who's actually a citizen of Westview
Mhm.
prior, or Eastview, whatever it's actually called.
Yeah, it seems like there are. I mean, and we've seen, Monica, or when she went in, she was not something that she created or that Wanda created or was in Westview prior, but she still was under the effects in some way. So it's very interesting to see what kind of control Wanda chooses to. It seems like she chooses to implement, because she doesn't seem to implement any control over her kids. Very little over Vision, if any. Maybe just restructuring the timeline to kind of reset things. Although she's not been resetting things recently, for whatever reason.
She's losing control. Do we want to talk a little bit about
Yep.
Vision and his quest for discovering what's outside of Westview now?
Yes.
Yeah.
We already talked about the scene with Norm and the computer. The computer stuff was really
Mhm.
cool. It was nice to see a Commodore
Yeah.
on screen. That was fun. Which was conveniently placed after Darcy made the comment of sending something in that belongs.
Mhm.
Something that's not out of place. I don't think it was actually the Commodore that she was talking about. But it was a nice little bait and switch by them to make it seem easy. I just love all the little nods to Vision, like, oh, it's like you speak their language when they talk about computers and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, it just cracks me up every
It's great
time.
writing overall.
It is. No, it's so well written. The dialogue is very well written as well. But I just love like that Vision is kind of he's like our Watson, right? Like he's the guy that we are discovering at the same pace he's discovering, it feels like. At least within
Right.
Westview.
We have some
Which is
some
really fun.
knowledge from outside the Hex that he doesn't, but
Yeah.
But luckily, they're keeping that stuff kind of cloudy and hazy as well, so we're not 100% sure what's still true. So you're right. We are very much in Vision's character for reveals.
If he walks outside of Westview, is he just gonna die again?
Probably.
Because he's just gonna collapse.
Oh yeah.
Cool. We also kind of learned that Wanda can bring things back to life, which we kind of already knew that, but now it's been explicitly said
By the kids.
which is weird that the kids know that.
But
Extension of the subconscious. They're not real. It's what she wants.
That certainly seems to be a possibility. And can we talk about what's some of that stuff?
Yeah.
Because the big reveal, obviously, at the end of this episode. Well, before we get there.
I was gonna say it's beginning.
Yeah. No, so before we get there, to just kind of finish on Vision's kind of quest, we do get a confrontation between him and Wanda in their living room.
Oh man,
which is
so
really, really well done. Both of them.
Paul Bettany's gonna make me watch Solo again, isn't he?
Paul Bettany's so good, man.
He is
so good. I like Elizabeth Olsen, but I think Paul Bettany just has range that she doesn't even have. Watching him go from like his interactions with was it Tom? Was it Tom or Tim? Norm. I can't even remember. Norm, like that acting scene versus then the scene where he's confronting Wanda about it. Like, just can we have him in more things? Why is he not in more things?
I don't know. I was kind of thinking about that too. Like, why does he not do more movies? We need more of him
for sure.
But to flip that and talk about Elizabeth Olsen, and this didn't occur to me until yesterday. It's really interesting to see her do this kind of show now, because she's the youngest sister of the Olsen twins.
Isn't it so weird?
She grew up on this. This is like the kind of TV she grew up watching because her sisters did it, and she's really good at this like old school sitcom thing. Like, she really crushes it, and it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, agreed. And in that scene, then we have them kind of Wanda out of nowhere saying, or maybe not out of nowhere, but saying, do you really think I can control these people that I'm making them do all these things? And then the doorbell rings, and she's like, I didn't do that. And Vision's, of course, I don't believe you. I don't know if I can believe you. I'm ignoring statistics at this point. I thought that was a fun line. And then who do we have at the door?
Man, I thought it was Hank Pym at first, and I was like, what the heck? Paul Bettany wanted to work with Michael Douglas, of all people? Like, Michael Douglas is in everything. Surely they've worked together. And then Dana's like, no. And I was like, oh, no. That hair, that's... And then it's revealed to be Evan Peters.
That was insane.
So Quicksilver from the 20th Century Fox X-Men. So not her brother Pietro, but it is her brother Pietro, but not the actor who played Pietro.
It's her brother Peter.
Yeah, remember when when it was announced that there would be two different Quicksilvers back when Age of Ultron was coming out? We're like, they can't do that. This is the weirdest thing ever, having two Quicksilver. And now this is like coming full circle where they're crossing over.
That's such a fun thing to think about, right? Because like 6, 7, 8 years ago, or like, why would they ever do that? And now everybody's like entering this multiverse phase of like movie and TV, and it's like, yeah, that's normal now. But yeah, Evan Peters, Quicksilver, Dana, huge X-Men fan, lost it.
Too.
She was so hyped, and I was just like, no way. I remember when he was rumored for this show, and I was like, really? Like, I wonder if he'll play a different character. And then he shows up and he's Quicksilver, and then I'm like, nope, he's playing a different character.
Yeah.
I don't think he's actually Quicksilver.
I would agree.
Ooh. I'll be the one.
I think he's part of who's manipulating.
I'll be the
things.
one who says I think maybe he is. I
think he's a figment of the subconscious.
Yeah. So
Wanda needs an out, so unconsciously doorbell rings, and there he is.
Well, let's go a little bit into our theories then. Luke, you've kind of already started. What do you think? What do you think is actually going on?
I don't know if this is what I think is going on, but every week, just a couple of things have always crossed my mind. One being the organization SWORD itself, it's a name change. One being the credits, and one being after the show actually ends. In this show, SWORD is sentient weapon. And in the second episode, they talk about AI. During the credits, you always zoom into a computer and you zoom into Vision. And then after every episode, what's the thing that pops up? Watch Age of Ultron. I don't know why, but I just feel like Ultron is going to be involved somehow.
I would love it.
And
I would love that.
It's like, and Ultron, when he was created, was made with the help of Vision. Or Jarvis, I guess.
Yeah.
And then Ultron made Vision. So was part of Ultron always in Vision, and now Vision is dead. So Ultron he's been jailbroke, and now he's getting his revenge on.
That's a fun theory.
On the world. I don't know, but it's just every time I watch the show, the first thing that pops up is Age of Ultron. It's James Spader's Ultron is just right there.
Well,
and I see it every time. I'm like, yeah.
I mean, they've mentioned him a few times, and they've mentioned Pietrov, and
they're bringing in all these things that like trigger Wanda so specifically. So is he going to be the big bad? I don't know. Is he going to be in it all? I don't know, but I feel like he might show up.
I think as a figment of her imagination, he will definitely show up.
Yeah.
This is
it's also the sentient thing. Why change that? Why change that? Because it was an alien threat thing before, and now it's not really that at all. It just seems so tailor fixed to be like, oh, we need to get AI involved with this somehow. So that's my theory.
Interesting.
Tyler, do you have a theory?
My theory is a little different. And my theory is helped a little bit by lifters that I didn't know prior. So my theory is Agnes is actually Agatha Harkness, who is a character who kind of speaks with, we'll say, like black magic type stuff. Like she kind of works in like the soul realm. And I think it's heavily rumored that Doctor Strange is going to show up in this. We know this leads right into his movie. I think the person pulling the strings who has given, okay, let me clarify too. I just read a book where like demons are a big part of the story. So I think that's a little bit of this. The reason they need Doctor Strange is because they're dealing with a demon, aka Mephisto.
Yep.
And I think Evan Peters is actually Mephisto showing up at the right time because Vision is starting to figure it out, and he needs to get him off the trail. And I think Vision is alive. But I think Mephisto brought him back to life. I think he possessed Wanda to go get his body and then brought him back to life somehow. But Vision's not a person, so I don't really know how that works. I haven't really put my finger around that. It could be part of Luke's theory, though, too, is that Ultron, like part of Ultron, lived on through Vision, and maybe that's how they kept him alive. I don't know, but I definitely think it's a demon or some sort of black magic type thing that has this whole thing going on. Because how is this force field there? That's like the biggest question to me. And all the hexagons, like they call the thing the hex now. Hex, I think a swamp thing. When we talk about hexing people, cursing people, like it just seems to be that would make the most sense.
Yeah, I think I've seen that kind of around too, about Mephisto kind of being the one that's in control. And I think the reason I want the Ultron thing is just because it's off the beaten path. It seems so much less likely.
Yeah.
That it would be such a turn. Mephisto seems like the direction you would take it. I mean, I'd totally be cool with that. That would be absolutely insane, and I'd love it. But just trying, it's always fun to craft.
Oh yeah,
out there theory.
Absolutely.
I thought you were gonna say that Wanda was a clone.
No, Ray's.
Yeah,
she should have been the clone.
No, I definitely. That's what I think is happening. What I want to happen is I actually want Evan Peters to just be Quicksilver.
Yeah, I think.
And he's come across the multiverse, and Doctor Strange shows up to be like, "Hey guys, look, this is happening. Like, people are coming across the multiverse, and he's the first to cross over."
I think what I like so much about Mephisto, that kind of theory, is that he has deep roots in the comics with all the different characters, right? Like he's been villains, he's been in fights with and most villains have some kind of crossover stuff. But he's a prominent villain against Doctor Strange and the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man and even Scarlet Witch. And so I think this is maybe an opportunity for them as we jump into it's been pretty heavily implied that this series is a starting point almost for Multiverse of Madness. Like, what if we don't actually defeat Mephisto in this? It's just we're saving Wanda is the goal here, and then Multiverse of Madness is going after Mephisto.
And that would make me think that Wanda is part of the Multiverse of Madness movie in a large role.
And when I think about and we've talked about this in weeks past, who did Marvel originally get to direct and write that Multiverse of Madness movie? Derrickson and Cargill, and they love horror. And can you imagine them just drooling over the idea of doing a horror movie with Mephisto as the villain? I can.
But basically, you get to play with Satan as your villain, essentially. They would love that.
And Marvel went, "Oh, wait.
We want this to be more fun than that. This is multiverse. Multiverse is the key there. We want to have all these fun cameos."
No, I think I can't wait for next week. I'm really curious to see if Peter, because he's Peter, in the X-Men movies. If it's actually just him, I hope we get that question answered, because I think it would be more interesting if he's just Quicksilver than if he's actually Mephisto. I think him being Mephisto is more likely than him actually just being Quicksilver. But if he's just Quicksilver, I think that blows the doors off of this thing. And if they say it in episode 6 or 7, because I think this is a 9-episode series, if they say in episode 6 or 7 that he is truly just Quicksilver, and they can prove that, it would not shock me one bit, not even a little bit, if Magneto showed up.
Yeah. Ooh.
In some form or fashion.
That would be cool.
And I bet it would be Fassbender.
That would be awesome.
Because Paul Bettany talking about working with an actor he's never worked with before that he really wanted to. I kept thinking it was Doctor Strange, but now with the doors being blown off of this thing, now the possibilities are endless. It could be Fassbender's a pretty popular guy. A lot of people really like him. and enjoy working with him. And I wonder if it could be him.
So I don't remember.
Fingers crossed.
I don't remember if it was from the House of M comic or somewhere else. I can't remember all the times that Mephisto and Scarlet Witch have kind of come in contact. But the storyline where she does have twins, it is revealed that the two twins are part of Mephisto. And I'm wondering, I'm wondering now with the comment they made about bringing back the dead and seeming to know about her powers, if that's part of it.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I should read House of M, I feel like. Yeah.
So,
okay.
Who knows? Gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
But I love this. I love that we get to talk about it every week. I love that right after WandaVision, we're going to jump into Winter Soldier, or not Winter Soldier, the Winter Soldier, or the, what is it? The Falcon, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And continue having our TV talks. But any final thoughts either about this week's episode or, Tyler, you kind of talked about what you want to see next week, or in the next couple weeks. Luke, anything for the next couple weeks you're hoping to see?
I guess I would just like to. I enjoy the meta-ness of this show, especially with Darcy and Jimmy Woo. How they're just like, Scarlet Witch could have beat Thanos on his own.
Yeah.
Oh, well, so could have Captain Marvel. But I love all that. So they're kind of talking about all the memes that people have been making over the past couple years after Endgame, and I've really enjoyed that. Yeah. Or even just the comment, they recast Pietro.
She recast Pietro. That was great.
I really enjoy all that stuff, and I hope they can keep that going. There's a really good blend of humor and kookiness with the thriller and questions and mystery.
Yeah.
I think they've been blending that really well, so just keep doing that.
Yep. Yeah, I am very excited. We're at midpoint now, essentially.
Yeah.
We've got four more. It seems like I'm really interested to see how they wrap things up with the second half of the season, because I feel like they could probably wrap everything up in like 2 episodes and I would be satisfied. So I'm hoping there's not too much filler, but based on what they've been giving me, I'm not worried about it feeling like filler. It'll just be interesting to see how they, like Luke, how you said, how they keep the mystery, but still give us little pieces of satisfying content.
I imagine one of the episodes will be Agnes centered. Here's what she's been doing the whole time. Something like out of Vantage Point.
Yeah.
Where you have all the different perspectives, and then you have the villain perspective where it kind of shows how everything really was.
Yeah. Yeah, I think right now the only safe prediction I'm comfortable making is, and I say safe, and it's a prediction, so who knows, but that I think we'll get the reveal, if it is Mephisto, I think we'll get the reveal of Mephisto on the Halloween episode.
Which is probably next week.
I'm still guessing it's a week away after this week, but but I don't know.
Yeah, we still got this week was 80s or was it 90s?
This was 70s, I think.
This was like late. I feel like it was like
this is 80s.
Maybe early 80s. I mean,
it was 80s because of Agnes's workout act.
Yeah, that's right.
Definitely
it was 80s. Yeah, that's
so
true.
I'd say we still got our 90s sitcom, and then
she said jazzercise.
Yeah.
So yes, 80s.
Got to get through all of our eras before we can.
Hey, this episode was longer too.
Yeah, it was. As
TV progressed forward, the episodes are getting longer. It's like what is now network television is an hour. So I wonder if at the end it's a 42-minute episode.
Hey, I'm fine with that.
Nice.
Absolutely fine with that. Oh, well, thanks for hanging out with us, guys and gals. This is always a lot of fun. You can find a bunch of our other content here on our YouTube channel or over at whatthefanboy.com. You can find links to our live show on Monday night over on Twitch. You can find links to our podcast, whether you listen on an Android or an iPhone or your computer. All those links are there at whatthefanboy.com. And until next week, we'll see ya.